Happy New Year. No love, no charity. It's CJ. And I bet you're wondering what that means. Well, I can't wait for you to find out. Now, let me throw out some Blue's Clues out there, all right? Let me read to you some poverty rates. Now, this is not to say one is better than the other, because America, we have people that are suffering through poverty, and this show is not going to be what you think. Hey, check it out. Let's talk about where I'm at here in California. The poverty rate for white people, 12.21%. For black people, 20.53%. For our Asian population, 10.2%. And for our Hispanic population, right here in California, 17.87%. I mean, this is a trip. This is a trip, and it's unacceptable for anyone, no matter who's doing better or who's worse. But you know what? We can always have a show about a hand out, all right? But why not talk about a hand up? And not just a hand up, doing it yourself. Today, we're going to talk about yet another inspiring self-made human being that broke the cycle of poverty. Doesn't matter what age. No, it doesn't. It is all in the mind. And we're going to show you how right here on Mentorship Moments. Each one, teach one. Happy New Year, 2022. Let's do what it do.
Sometimes you just gotta make it happen. Gonna make it happen. Gonna make it happen. Just make it happen. Just make it happen. Just make it happen.
Rehash the format a little bit, right? I want to get to the point, right? Before we get to the sponsorship. So sponsors, don't worry, I got you. Midway through the show, we're going to shout out the birthdays. We're going to shout out the sponsors, but I'm just so excited about our guests. Now, again, this year is meant to inspire. Yes, we're going to talk about health. Yes, we're going to talk about community issues, but man, once again, it's about finding that pinpoint to fix some things, all right? And I'm going to fix some things with some great examples. Today, we're going to talk about poverty, man. Who in here has not experienced poverty at some point in their life? Hey, maybe there are some people that never have experienced extreme poverty. And thank God that I never had the chance to experience that. I've been poor and broke before, once in my life, but that was temporary due to certain circumstances. But guess what? My father was an example of a person who broke the cycle of poverty and gave me the blueprint for me not to fall into poverty. But I had a blueprint, but many people didn't, all right? So I'm going to read a little bio of our friend today, our friend at Mentorship Moments. His name is Paul Lamar Hunter. This man has traveled all over the country speaking on different news outlets, and we'll show you a little segment of that in a segment. Let me just read his bio, and then we'll get to it, man. Man, I know some amazing people. I'm excited about 2022. Listen, Paul Lamar Hunter was born in Racine, Wisconsin in 1970. The 19th of 21 natural-born children to James and Louise Hunter. Now, that's a practical joke in some, but man, back in the day, they was popping them out, and they was all theirs. His childhood experiences included poverty, neglect, and tragedy. I can't wait to get into the weeds of that. After the deaths of his father and brother, Louise focused her energy on the homeless shelter she founded. Through the shelter, was meant to be a stabilizing influence for her family and a respite for the downtrodden. It was a breeding ground of dysfunction. A determined spirit and unshakable faith lifted Paul to earn a degree in business administration from Upper Iowa University. Father to 4 adult children, Paul wrote his autobiography titled No Love, No Charity: The Success of the 19th Child. The book earned attention by Ebony Magazine, and he has appeared on several television shows, including Tavis Smiley, Tom Joyner, and Fox and Friends. Before we pull our guest on set, I want you to take a little minute to watch this little clip of one of his interviews, man. I cannot wait to inspire. Let's make it roll, poetess. Let's make it roll.
Makes your family stand out? Oh, it's my mom. My mother has broken records all around the world by birthing 21 amazing children. 21? 17 of us living today, 63 grandchildren, and 87 great grandchildren.
Oh my goodness.
She is in a class by herself.
Absolutely.
You know, it takes a lot of faith, courage, and determination to raise a big, healthy family.
Yeah. I'd love to know, with a family that large, can you tell me about some of the challenges that you experienced when you were a child?
You know, one of the challenges that I had experienced was the death of my brother in 1976, and also the death of my father in 1977. Those two vicissitudes sent a shockwave through the Hunter family, but we were able to bounce back because the community in the city of Racine was there for us.
Okay.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we're bringing the man, the legend in my mind. I mean, man, I've caught up and I'm just super impressed and I can't wait to bring this brother on. Mr. Paul Lamar Hunter. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Uh-oh. We got it. Are you on mute, sir?
All right. Hey, thank you for having me on your show. I am excited. I am thrilled to share a positive story to your listeners, to let them know that my story will give them hope. My story will inspire them to take their game to the next level, spiritually, academically, financially, and emotionally.
You know, listen, and I mentioned this California stance, but you're from Wisconsin, so let me read these. The poverty stats from in Wisconsin. If my glasses serve me correctly, and I'm not wearing them right now. For whites, it's 9%. For African Americans, it's 30. Currently, we're talking about currently, not back in the 70s. 31%, 15% for our Asian brothers and sisters, and 21.29% for our Hispanic brothers and sisters. I mean, so that means that poverty is still going on. Correct, my man?
Oh, you are absolutely 100% correct. In the city of Racine, when it comes to people of color, it's hard for them to shake the curse of poverty, and I think sometimes it is because of circumstances, and also they don't have a background in education. No one in the family has really went to high school or graduated college, and so it plays a significant role on a person's mind when they know that mom didn't graduate from high school and they don't have a vision of themselves of graduating from high school or going beyond high school to college. And so in order for us to break the curse of poverty, I believe that there's a lot of programs out there that young men and young women need to take advantage of. One of the programs is that they have in the city of Racine, Wisconsin, is the YMCA, Big Brothers and Sisters. Also the NAACP. Those are good programs that can really help you. And also the churches too has some good mentorships of men and women that can really guide you and direct you and make sure that you are on the path of success in life.
You know, I want to walk. I've just put a picture on the screen. Uh, I want people to get to know the humor before we start bringing out the antidote. I just look at this beautiful woman that we've put on the screen. Is this your mother?
Yeah, that's my mother. It's next month. It will be 2 years that she has been deceased, and she went home 2 years ago, and the family is still carrying on her legacy because
Wow.
it's a long legacy. You have to understand that my mother birthed 21 children by my father. So if you remember the song, Let's Get It On,
They
my
got
mother and my father, they got it on all the time. So this is the lineage. This is the lineage that you see
So
right
here's
here.
where I think I try to be a little different than I always want to ask the gray area questions, man. Listen, and I love my wife, Eva Joseph, but we got two kids. And man, between both of them, at some point in time, and God bless you, and I mean this in comedy, but in truth, man, we were at odds. How 21, they're all of them are theirs, including yourself. Tell me about the household, especially living in poverty. Tell me about the household. Now, this is pre your father dying, because I want to walk people through what this really looks like from your shoe. What was the Hunter household all about?
Oh, it was chaotic. I remember a time where dad had to work two jobs. So mom had to get us up. Not only mom, but my older siblings. They had to get up in the morning, prepare the meals for breakfast, get us prepared for school. And sometimes, the young children like myself, we didn't want to wake up, and so mom had to hit us, or our older siblings had to spank us. Get up! It's time for school. It's time for school. You guys have to get up for school. And I'm telling you right now, but my mom and dad, they ran that house like it was a military home. We had to get up. We had to do chores. We had to do homework. We had to listen to our older siblings, and if we did not listen, we were in trouble from our parents. So I thank God for both of my parents and also my siblings, because some of my siblings had to forego their education, and if it wasn't for my siblings, I wouldn't be here speaking with you today.
Man, man, oh God, man, I'm gonna go so deep on this. Let me ask you about your father. I mean, this is pre, because I want to go in pre and post passing, because this is important. Was your father, being that like me, I have two jobs and a career, and I'm trying to take over the world with podcasting and this, that, and the other. So when I get home, in my mind, I envision myself being the dad that, hey kids, give them a big hug, a kiss, tickle them. But when I get home, I'm like, dang, I'm just like, man, in my mind, I want to be one type of dad, but the reality is the world just beat the crap out of me, and I just want to sit down and sit comatose. It would take a holiday for me to interact because I had some sleep. What was your interaction with your dad with all of those beautiful siblings around? What was that like?
My dad never rested, because my siblings and me, we loved our dad. When he came home from work, we would sometimes stay up until our dad pull up, and sometimes we would run out there to the car to embrace him. My dad was a very hard worker, so he always spent time with us. When it came to the weekends, he made sure that we were outside playing kickball, made sure that the girls was outside doing jumping rope. Especially the girls love to do double dutch. I don't know if you remember double dutch, but them girls
Oh yeah.
love to jump and do double dutch. And also he would make sure that we play basketball, but when it came to volleyball, he would mix it up and have a combination of boys and girls on the same team, because he wanted balance. And so he used to coach the team, and he would be a fair man, and mom would be sometime in the house cooking food, and I remember mom used to make that old Kool-Aid with all that sugar,
Ah,
and so so it was fun. It was fun in a Hunter household, and it was some good time, but it also was some bad time. But the good time always outweighed the bad
well,
times.
it's funny. Even though that you were raised in a whole other side of the country than I was, it seemed like the family unit, the men were different back then. They were tough. They worked hard, but many of them took the time to mentor, as my dad did me. So my question I'm asking, well, what is going on with us, man? We have one or two jobs and we tired. Technology, we tired. So I appreciate the fact that the Hunter household was something special. But there was a time when you were 8, as we were talking, where it all kind of turned. Can you walk us through that? I want to put people in your lens before we move into the antidote.
Okay. Well, it started off in 1976. It was a house fire that started in 1976 on Randolph Street in Racine, Wisconsin. I'll never forget that day. My brother Michael got as many children and people out of the home at that particular time, but he couldn't rescue Thomas and me. And so the firemen escorted Michael out of the house and told him that they were going to rescue us. And once 2 of the firemen got upstairs, they were trying to revive my brother Thomas. And I remember clearly the fireman said he's alive, but he just have a weak pulse. And he said that we have to get out of this house. Once he said that, the other fireman picked me up, and the other one grabbed my brother, and escorted us down the steps. Once we got to the steps, fire was everywhere. So my mom is so old fashioned now. She was born in Vicksburg, Mississippi in 1934. So my mom had garbage cans. One of the garbage can was filled with sugar. The other one was filled with flour. So what they did was they empty out the contents and placed my brother and myself inside the garbage can and ran through the fire and bust right through the window. And that's how I survived. A couple of days later, my brother Thomas, he passed away. And from that tragedy, a year later, my father was involved in a car crash. He went home to visit his mother because he didn't see his mother in about 5 or 6 years. So he wanted to go back home to Fayetteville, Mississippi, to see his mother. Once he made it there, Mom cooked him dinner. They had a great conversation. Mom tried to convince him to stay in. He wanted to go out, see his other family members, and also see his friends from high school. So he left, and once he left, he never came back. He was involved in a car crash, and he died a couple of days later. And so, like I said, both of those tragedies really, shook the Hunter family up, and it changed our lives dramatically because, my father was the leader of the Hunter family. He was the commander in chief, and once he was gone, the family of the Hunter, just life began to turn for the worse.
And let's talk
really
talk
has.
about that worse. So is this where the part where we can start with that P word, poverty. What was the turnaround? What was those dark moments like? Man, people really need to hear this because some people are running through the same experience and they don't know quite where to go from here. They need some help.
Well, you got to understand that my dad was a provider. So when he was working those two jobs, we didn't have to ask for anything whatsoever. And so once he had passed away, that's when the struggle began. When he was alive, Mom was working a part-time job, but once he died, it was tough on the Hunter family. But I must say this, yes, we did experience poverty. We experienced shortage of food, shortage of clothes. Sometimes the electric got disconnected. Sometimes the gas got disconnected. But one thing I can say, that the community rose up in the city of Racine and they provided some food for us. They provided clothes for us. They even paid the electric bill for us. They even paid the gas bill for us. I remember a time when we didn't even have any Christmas toys or a Christmas tree. A knock at the door revealed unexpected gifts from unexpected people. And so the people in the city of Racine, Wisconsin, has always been grateful and good to the Hunter family. And that's the reason why I am very appreciative of people who are givers in the community.
I'm going to ask you a quick question and you give me a quick answer. Then we'll go to a commercial break and then we'll expound on it. How long was your poverty cycle? And just answer that question and then we'll move on.
10 to 15 years.
Stop right there. We're going to go to a commercial break. CJ is Functional Fitness, where you don't have to be a fighter to feel like one. Then we'll hit some sponsors, and they're going to pick up right there, that 10-year poverty cycle. I love it. Let's talk.
In life, we all have opponents to prepare for. But you don't have to be a fighting champion to defeat your current condition. You don't need to be the ultimate anything to tap out the stressors in life. But what if I told you that mastering your physical well-being, like a fighter, directly relates to mastering the obstacles in your daily life? The only challenger that awaits you is yourself. Do you accept your challenge? I'm CJ, and this is CJ's Functional Fitness, where you don't have to be a fighter to feel like one. So let's train.
All right, real quick, I don't want to forget my sponsors and some quick shout outs because I don't think we really need any more commercials after this. There's a lot to cover, man, to get you guys out of this cycle of poverty, right? So real quick, Mutual Realty Consultants, Miss Yolitas Carter. All right, she is a five-star. If you want that 5-star experience, that's where you need to go. Hey, you want to hit her up, you go to 213-804-3369. When you need a certified probate and trust real estate specialist, you know who to call by now. God bless you for sponsoring me through this, and hopefully we continue in 2022. Got some big business deals going down. I can't wait. And I always like to put this up, the Black Health Trust. It's so important that I put this up here, not just because my face is on it, because I was a guest. It's because every Sunday online, if you just Google the Black Health Trust, you just go on their site, they have live segments for health for our community. I know it feels like you go to a doctor and they don't understand you. Well, you have the doctors here, they're going to give you the straight truth, no matter truth, no matter if it's COVID, no matter what it is, your health, diabetes, they keep it real with you. They understand you and they can give you the truth so you can take the information you need to do what you need to do to survive. All right. Shout outs to one of the new hairstylists on the scene. It's Braids and Things, y'all. Yes, little Cheyenne Grace Joseph. She is the CEO of Braids and Things, and she be doing people's hair up. You know, she's on the map now. Listen, I want you guys to go hit her up on IG. Hit her up, DM her at braidsinthangz.com. That's BRADSNTHANGZ_ Braids and Things. I cannot wait. I mean, it's already blowing up. The word's getting out. But you know what? Let's put it out more. Let's support our businesses. All right. Happy past birthday to my beautiful niece Troya and my beautiful nephew Jordan Joseph. Awesome. You know, in remembrance, coming up, my brother Troy Joseph. God bless you all. It's just amazing. And now we are back. We are back to breaking poverty. So, Paul, we were talking about a 10-year cycle of poverty. And listen, if you have questions as we go on, you can call in at 323-815-4204. That's 323-815-4204. If you have questions about breaking through your cycle, man, listen, this is the time to call in, okay? Here we go. We don't have a doctor. We don't have a lawyer. We have a real person that's gone through it. All right, Paul, I'm coming back to you, sir. So a 10-year cycle of poverty. Can you recall, so I know you talked about the bread lines and food lines. Can you just recall a vivid memories as when you all knew that, man, this ain't good?
Well, I can recall that there was a time where we ate beans and cornbread for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I knew at a young age that this is not the lifestyle that I want for myself or for my children. And so for me to have 4 children and 1 beautiful granddaughter, they never had to experience what I had experienced as a child. And I tell my children today that they are tremendously blessed not to experience poverty. And I let them know that they are grateful. They are really, really grateful not to experience that. And I don't want them to experience it. I just want them to experience a life of abundance. That poverty sucks, man. It really does, man. It's like there's no way out. You say, as a young man that there's no way out, but I'm telling you, it is a way out. You have to surround yourself with positive men and women, and you have to educate yourself. You have to say that I must be better than the next generation. And so that's what I was able to do, is surround myself with positive men and women, and I wanted to be better than the next generation.
So, Paul, let me ask you this. There was a time in my life where it clicked, where I said no more. I mean, like I said, clearly your life was much more hectic than mine when it came on the poverty level. But there was a point in my life where I was like at my lowest, and it clicked for me, no more. And I made that decision for myself, and I had to make some changes. When was that moment for you? Whether it be in your childhood or whether it be in your adulthood? And what was the exact transition you made to better yourself?
I think it was the time when I knew that my job was shutting down and moving operations to Mexico in 2010. And that's when I said enough is enough. I'm going back to I'm going back to school. I'm a be the first in my family to graduate college, and learning the history or the lineage of my mother and my father, that no one never graduated college. And so I had that on my mind of making history, of becoming the first in my family to graduate from college. And I knew that if I can graduate from college and lay the foundation, that it was going to set up the next generation of the Hunter family. And a lot of my nieces and nephews has went to college and graduated. Some of them received their master's degree, and I'm so proud of them. But it clicked with me when I was in my 40s, when I was working for Chrysler, when they said that, made that decision that they were going to close the plant. And I looked at it as not as a setback, but I looked at it as an opportunity for a great comeback. And so in 2012, it was an extraordinary comeback because I became the first in my family to graduate college. So I laid the foundation.
And this was in your 40s when this happened, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Brother, I
Yes.
want to tell you, man, I'm in my about to be 50 soon, and I'm about to graduate with my a degree in business also. Isn't that amazing? No matter the age, when that bug hits, when enough's enough, when you want to climb and be better, that it just happens. Why you now? Not you have a beautiful family, so I don't know who's more successful than I just don't know. But generally, in the dynamic of a family, the Jackson Five, they were all great, but Mike was something else. The Joseph Four, all great kids, but my brother is a super rock star. There's always one. Why do you think it was you, not to put down or up the others, but what happened to you that might have been different than them, even to get that level? Because the college, that's pretty serious. Tell me about that.
Well, I think I was different because I saw a lot at a young age. I saw my siblings struggle. It could be academically, it could be struggling with drugs and alcohol. And I wanted something different out of life. I wanted to be the first. I wanted to be the first to graduate with my associate's degree. I wanted to be the first to graduate from college. I wanted to be the first author in the family. And I became the first. I really became the first. But in order to be number one, you have to fight. You really have to fight, and you have to be determined, to succeed. And you have to say, no one is getting in my way. And that's how my mind was, that nothing was getting in my way. I was totally in on becoming a winner in the Hunter family. So I wrote the book, No Love, No Charity, The Success of the 19 Child. That book has been developed into a screenplay. Right now, we are in the process of negotiating a major movie deal that will happen this year. So I am excited about the book, and I'm also excited about the movie deal.
Man, I wanted to unleash that towards the end, but we're talking about it now. I got you. I got you. We get it because I mean it's huge. It never think, and I believe you agree with me on this. No human being listening to the show ever think your life is minimal enough where you'll just be mediocre. That's up to you to accept. Correct?
Yes, it is up to you. There was a time when a teacher told me that I wasn't college material. I laughed. I really did, literally laughed at her. But hey, let me tell you this: it's not how you start; it's how you finish.
Now, how was when they're usually family for the most part and friends support you when you're doing your thing. But did you have resistance amongst family when it came to your growth? Did you have to say, "Hey, I need to chill on you for a while I grow, and then come back and get y'all"? What is that like? Did you experience that?
You got to understand that when you come from the inner city, and when you are trying to go up in life, you always going to have haters. And it could be your mom, your dad, your siblings, but you have to keep moving. yes, I had some resentment from some of my siblings because the chatter was he thinks that he's better than us. No, I never did thought that way. That's your mind telling you that. I still come around. I still communicate. I still give you hugs. I still tell you that I love you. I still tell you that I care about you. I just don't indulge into your lifestyle, that negative lifestyle. So,
But you know
hey,
what? You even in Wisconsin, Los Angeles, Long Beach, where I was born, I think and I'm speaking for our African American population. It seems like we're either happy growing together, or if somebody's growing separate from us, that's a problem. Why is that in your mind? Because you've made it through that, you've gotten past it. But I want you to look back. Why is that such an issue with when somebody decides to change your life? You probably see more haters than the quiet supporters. Why do you think? I mean, this is a cultural thing that's gone on for eons.
I think it is because they see the potential in the gifts and the talent that God has given you, and you are utilizing it, and they are not utilizing what God has given them. So they don't want you to surpass them because they can do it, but they are afraid to do it because what their friends or their siblings might say. Oh, now she thinks she's better than us. No, 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 no. You shouldn't go to school. People told me that. Some of my siblings told me that I should not go to school. I should not go to college. You know, you're not going to graduate. But I graduated.
Wow. Wow. I wanted your take on that, because no matter where you're at in life, it doesn't matter if you're poor, middle class, it just, and I'm not, and I don't want to come at us like we're knocking our community, because for the most part, we show love, but when we show love to the highest of the high. Like, we can't touch a Jay-Z. We can't touch a LeBron. So it's so easy or Denzel. So it's easy to support them. But in our sphere, it just seems culturally like when we're trying to grow amongst ourselves, you ever heard the term the monkeys in the barrel, or crabs in the barrel, or one
Girl,
comes up?
yeah.
It just
Yep.
feels like we're more happy pulling each other down than lifting each other up and then coming back and building people up. Your thoughts on that?
And you're absolutely right. I remember an article that Ebony magazine had did of me of becoming the first to graduate from college. And so it was on Facebook, and some lady was going at it with another guy. And she said, I know him. It took him like 5 to 10 years to graduate college. So the young man says, it doesn't matter. And she said, get off my page. And she go on and say, it took him about 5 to 10 years. He said, it doesn't matter. What have you been doing in those 5 and 10 years? Have you received your bachelor's of science degree? You see what I'm saying?
No, I get it. I get it. At my nearing 50, the way I look back at it now is I feel empathy toward those people, but I also feel like, why are you competing against me? Don't get mad at me because you didn't see the gift God had for you. And when I look at it like that, it's easier for me to walk away, and easier for me to forgive when they finally get it. I do believe God, if you allow it, gets everybody to get it, no matter if you're 60, 40, 20, 30, or 10. But when you do get it, I've seen people come out of their circumstances that hated on me for what I'm doing and say, Clee, you was right. Have you had that experience, Paul?
Oh, most definitely. A lot of people, especially when I go back home. The last time I was home was at my mom's funeral. A lot of people came up to me and apologized to me because they saw my success. They saw me on the Tom Joyner radio show. They saw me on the Vivica Fox show, which is Face the Truth. They saw me, in magazines, newspaper publications, and they came up and they apologized to me. But I keep my distance because if you said it, when I was climbing the ladder, what are you going to say when I really elevate in life and complete this movie deal. Now he's not coming back home. Now he's all of that. I'm gonna continue to climb the ladder of success, and I don't care what my haters or people say about me. I only have one life. In the next 30 to 40 years, I will be exiting this world. So I'm going to enjoy every moment that I have.
All right. So now I want to get into your upcoming success, and I'm wishing this for you. No hate coming my way from Los Angeles, man. How did the book deal? How did all this come about? Was it through seeing you being interviewed about your story? Was it the book itself? Man, what triggered from this to a potential movie deal?
I have to say that I had to trust God's timing. Um, I was pushing it and it wasn't happening. But when the pandemic happened, that's when it happened. Because now writers was immobile. They had to sit at home. They literally
Yes.
had to sit at home and become creative. And so once they sat at home and became creative, that's when I had an opportunity to pitch it to Tailflix. And once I pitched it to them, they were just motivated. They was excited. They even wrote the page pitch, to Paramount. They sent it out to Paramount. They sent it out to Sony. They sent it out to all of these production companies, and they are in a bidding war right now. So,
Oh,
so
what a blessing. That is
what a blessing that the pandemic. Yes, it was a curse, but also it was a blessing for some people, and it was a blessing for me. I should have to say.
I think you can attest that the damage of the pandemic really is all in your mind. I originally thought for myself during the pandemic that my business, everything would shut down, and for a good half a month it did. But when I guess we're of like minds. When you are of the no quit zone, opportunity kicks in and other business creativities hit. And I had my best business year in 2021 ever because my mindset didn't fall into the depressions of the pandemic. Could that be equally have said of you, sir?
Oh, most definitely. Look, you started a podcast. I know a lot of people started podcasts, and some of their podcasts has really taken off. And it's a great time to start a podcast during the pandemic. You became very creative, and you became very successful. And it's just a way for you to grow your business and for my story to be spotlighted on your platform. And I thank you for letting me on your platform to share a positive story.
I have a very special friend of mine that's writing a book now, and she's on fire. I wrote one myself, and she got inspired through that. She's writing hers. Tell me what it's like taking the chance on yourself, putting pen to paper, and writing your baby. What is that like?
I'll tell you what, it was cathartic for me. I thought growing up in poverty and growing up in a big old household, and you hear a lot of negative chatter from the household and also from your peers and people in the community, that you can never become a writer, you can never become a teacher, you can never become a basketball coach, you can never become a thinker, you can never become a critical thinker. But once you get away from all of the negativity like I did and separated myself from a lot of people and a lot of negativity, my mind became very clear, and I was able to write the book, No Love, No Charity, The Success of the 19th Child. I was able to chronicle my life from a child all the way up until graduation. And you have to remember, in my book, I talk about graduation. I tell people all the time that the end is always better than the beginning. It was tough growing up in a family of having 20 siblings. It was tough as a teenager because I did not have my my father with me. There's nothing like having a father,
Amen.
because your father gives you hope, gives you motivation, and your father lays the foundation and gives you direction. And I talk about my graduation. Nobody showed up at my graduation. My siblings had invitation to go. They never showed up. My mother never showed up. But in spite of all of that, I was able to forgive them and move on, because it was my success. It wasn't their success. It was my glory. It was my moment. So I enjoyed it.
Amen. So there's a young man, a young woman right now that's sitting amongst a pool of friends, of mediocre friends, that needs to get that affirmation right now. Listen, if something's inside of you right now that's telling you you got to get out, I love what you said. Now he's giving you the formula through this whole thing. Sometimes you have to get away and clear your space. I love it. Now, I love the title of the book, No Love, No Charity. How it speaks to me is only you, and of course God, can pull yourself out of your situation. No one can do it for you, even if you get a handout. Is that a fair assessment to say?
You're absolutely right. No one can do it but you in God. And I'm telling you right now, you see in this world, you got people that want a free handout. Oh no, you got to do it. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the time. You really have to, you really have to go out there and fight and have a spirit of not giving up. You just got to go out there and just grind and go get it.
Woo!
Go get it. Go get it. And when you go get it, man, you're going to enjoy it. Because
Man,
this is mine. I worked and I earn it.
Well, before I catch the Holy Ghost and start screaming around in here and doing push-ups, I want everybody to know how to contact you, man. Let's talk about your website, your social media handles, and then how we get your book. I want to make sure we get that clear before we continue, because I want to talk about mentorship in the next segment.
Well, my book, No Love, No Charity, The Success of the 19th Child, it is available at all bookstores, Amazon.com, Barnes and Nobles, iTunes. Like I stated, the book has been adapted into a screenplay. If you are a mother, you are a father, you need to go out and get this book. Also, you can go out and get my mother's book, Love and Charity, the life story of Louise Hunter in the Love and Charity homeless shelter. That book right now is still selling. It's a hot commodity. Men, women, pick it up. If you want to be better parents, pick it up. If you want me to come and speak at your community church or at-risk Boys and Girls Club, you can visit my website, paullamarhunter.com. I'm on social media outlets under Paul Lamar Hunter.
And then he also on Twitter at Alf19, ALPH19, to get a hold of this brother and just receive a blessing. I'm blessed just knowing you in this moment, and I'm so glad I kicked off my New Year's show with you. Listen, we're going to go on a quick commercial break on another book that talks about success. It's mine, Navigating Through the Valleys of Success, a perspective in the thick of it. Roll it, and then we're going to talk about mentorship, how mentorship is important to you, sir. All right.
I tried to be secular about this book, but I can't. Something's working within me.
DJ was already an incredible person, and then he wrote a book.
I turned to God as a person that stopped believing. So you will meet me there, and if not, you will see the works that help me get there.
If you want to know how to change and learn how to change from the inside out, you read this book.
Money is a real thing. It's a part of it. But what I show in the book, and I'm telling my young people out there, I'm walking you through business. This is a real business lecture 101. It's not the green that's going to keep you sustained. It's your influence. How well do you impart influence and love in people? How do I make you rich by a conversation we've had?
It's going to help you no matter what situation, no matter what trials or tribulations you're going through. It's going to give you that ammo that you need.
Watch God grow inside of me. Watch him show me why this went wrong to get to right. to him to say, you know what, God? I needed the tragedy too. I needed to feel loss. I needed to feel grief. I needed to feel let down. And thank God you've got me where I'm at in my marriage, with my kids, with my family, so I can see the blessings and I can tell somebody else how all those things I went through in the past got me where I'm at today.
You can get through anything if you just keep the faith and walk through that valley and don't give up. Don't turn back, don't look back, just keep looking forward, and the goal is right there. You just have to keep pushing forward.
Keep your brains in your head, keep your heart in your chest, and keep your pee-pee in your pants. And that's it.
That's great advice.
This will stay in your hearts for the rest of your life, and it will conquer the demons that lie in your mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can't do it by myself. So I have to bring people that are even more inspiring. I have to bring people that are even more successful. Because guess what? In this community, in CJ's world, community is being around successful people. And that's why I think I have the best guests, man. We ain't talking about twerking. We ain't talking about being an athlete. We ain't talking about none of that. All that's good and dandy, right? But there's a grind that we're missing. And I'm bringing people to this show this year that have been on that grind. And you guys keep taking notes, because you guys are going to keep getting little bullet points as to how to be successful, whether it be through me, through my guest, Mr. Hunter, or through my guests coming in the future. I bring you nothing but the best. Now, I'm going to come back to Paul here, and I want to throw out the importance of mentorship to success, because you can't just latch on to the people that are just mediocre around you. Tell me about the importance of mentorship. And who were your favorite mentors? What was it about them that you loved?
Well, I think that one of the mentors in my life was named Mike Morehorn. He was an attorney, very successful attorney. I loved his charisma. I loved his demeanor, his posture, his education. Really challenged me to become great. It challenged me to be a better man, and also to go out in the community and be a mentor to other young men and women. And so I became a basketball coach. And once I became a basketball coach, I became a mentor to a lot of young men and women. A lot of them young men and women are adults today. They are professionals. They are school teachers. They are principals. They are basketball coach in D1 and D2. And I still talk to them to this day. And there's nothing wrong with having a positive mentor women in your life, because you're going to get structure, you're going to get guidance, you're going to get direction, and you're going to get some good counseling, and you're going to receive some feedback on how to become a better person in life. So this is what you get. I had some positive men and women in my life that was great mentor to me. And this is what you have today. A young 51-year-old man enjoys sitting down with young women and men and just telling them that they can reach the stars. They can really reach the stars, and they can become anything that they want. And they have to understand that their purpose is always bigger than their circumstances. And once you understand that, hey, my purpose is bigger than my circumstances, the sky is the limit.
Man. Okay, so I'm going to get really deep with you now, and I'm going to put you said you mentor, right? And whether you mentor to a group or personal. As a mentor, what are you looking for in your mentee? Because being a mentor doesn't mean spoon feeding. What does mentorship mean as you providing mentorship to others?
I hold people accountable. I hold them accountable. I want them to be honest. I want them to have compassion. I want them to learn from me. I want them to go out in the world and whatever they have received from me, I want them to go out in the world and give it to the next generation because like I stated, I'm in this world for the next 30, 40 years and then I'm gone. And I just want them to be better men and women, better fathers, better mothers. I want them to conquer the world.
Wow. So Paul, at 51, you say, do you think it's over for you? Did you just peak, or no matter what age, there's more to go? What is in your thought process? I know what the answer is, but I want you to say. I can read you. I know you. Let's go.
I'm never too old. You know, as long as I got this sharp mind, as long as I have vision, as long as I am committed and I am determined, and I have this abundance of faith, man, I am really climbing the ladder of success, man.
Man. One thing I want to backtrack a little bit. You talked about youth centers and homeless shelters that work. Okay, and we're not talking about just give food and go. Tell me the importance of just encouraging, getting back to opening up things like the YMCA's, boys clubs, youth centers. How you live that? How important is that? If we could decide that, because new ideas aren't always new ideas. Sometimes it's bringing back some good old fashioned stuff for kids to congregate. How important is that for you and the community?
It's very important for me because I never experienced that as a child, but I learned about the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, and that's the reason why today I'm still active in the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, and I go there from time to time, and I ask them, "Can I speak for free?" And they allowed me to come in and share a positive story to really give them hope. You know, the last speaking engagement I had before the pandemic was over in Hawaii, and it was over 500 people that came out, young men and young girls that came out, and I shared my story of mastering the art of success to them and what they need to do to master the art of success. And it was fun. And so I can't wait until the pandemic is over because I'm going to be hitting the road out there encouraging young men and young women to graduate from high school, to graduate from college. It doesn't matter if your mom or your dad did not graduate at high school or college. You can do it.
So would you say this pandemic was the moment, or still is the moment to plant that seed for success? Because it's not done overnight.
It's the moment. It really is the moment. I know that we are in a pandemic, and there's a lot of things that is happening. You know, a lot of people are dying, but it's a time for some of us to really grow, and you know, in a positive way. It's time for us to really grow. And like I stated, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't be getting this movie deal.
Man, what a blessing. Well, look, all my guests, I tend to ask to close out with a positive affirmation, okay? Because I'm tired of doing it. You know, I want to leave it to my guests because you guys are the expert. I brought the backup. So, Paul, man, can you leave from where you're at, us here in Los Angeles, whoever's listening across the country, some words of positive affirmation on breaking that cycle of poverty and just pushing into moments of success?
Well, I must say this. Many people thought my story was going to end in defeat, but it ended in victory because I had the spirit of faith, love, and determination. You may be down in your circumstances at this moment, but don't give up. I need you to fight, 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 and you will win, win, win. God bless and good night.
www.paullamarhunter.com. Facebook, Twitter at Paul Lamar Hunter, Twitter at Alf19. Ladies and gentlemen, we broke it down. First show 2022, and we started off with a bang. We started off positivity, and we're going to continue to do so. 2 weeks. I got a triple threat entrepreneur, 15 years old, doing it big. I cannot wait to unleash him upon you. 2022, we are about to inspire. This is Mentorship Moments. Each one teach one. We are the village. Let's talk it up.
It happened.